not good at that. Proceed to the next speaker, which after is Linda, if you mind join us. After two Dutch presenters, now we go with the local, which is Linda Lerchbaumer from OMV. Linda joined OMV in 2013 as exploration geologist, and she's currently based here in Vienna. So can do the stage thing. Yes, very good. Forgot something. The next question. What do you hope to get out of a membership to a YP organization, which is networking, mentorship, leadership, professional skill building, and training opportunities? Linda, please.
I'm glad to be here and wish you all a warm welcome. There it is. For the start, I would just like to give you a very short overview on my CV and what I did before, just also to show you that you do not necessarily have to follow a long-term career path to end up in the oil industry, as you see here. I'm by background a hard rock geologist. I studied classical geology, including lots of field works and excursions at the University of Vienna. I finished with a master's in crystalline and alpine geology, where I was working, as you see here, in the, does that work? No. So this is actually the place back home in the Alps where I did 3 years of field work for my master's. After this, I stick to science. I changed to the Bavarian Research Institute in Bayreuth in Germany, where I did my PhD. I was for 4 years. I've been working on the investigation of porphyry, copper, and molybdenum deposits. And it was in 2012 when I decided to leave academia to look for a job in the industry, because I wanted to do more, wanted to work on projects with a more immediate outcome, with a more direct impact, which is sometimes very difficult if you do basic research, right? I joined OMV in February 2013, so it's a bit more than 3 years now. I'm working as an exploration geologist, which kind of is a bit like research, because you look into new areas, into new regions, and you try to find oil and gas, try to develop new models, and it's an exciting job, actually. So far, I've been working on projects in the frontier deep water area of Gabon, and the last 6 months until March, I spent with OMV Norge in Stavanger and was working on a project in the North Sea. What I would like to talk with you later on in the discussion about is maybe a bit controversial if you want, but it is a topic I think especially as young ones face in our daily working life. It is the question whether we face a generation gap, because it is really obvious that those people who are currently kind of ruling and leading the business are at least one, very often 2 generations older than we are. And we see that we have totally different views on life and ways of how to live and work. And I just, as introductory slide, I would like to give you some numbers here. I found this nice study by Ernst & Young online, where they made they asked about 10,000 people about their perception of life and their work habits, and they found out that there is partly a huge difference in people coming from the millennial generation, which we are, to those people from Generation X and the baby boomer generation. You see that one of the biggest difference is basically the work-life balance, if you want. So for us, it is really important to have a good life, to work, but also to work to earn the money to have a good and a better life. And you also see this with those numbers, that millennials are, for example, more likely to have the partner working as well, so that you together earn the money for your life, and to have more of a balance than while baby boomers still tend to have like the woman at home and the man goes to work. It kind of goes into the same direction where you see that our generation, after having a child, tends to go back to work much earlier. Of course, also because of the fact that more women are working these days. And a term which I really liked a lot while I came across doing my kind of research is the digital natives versus the digital immigrants, which already tells you a lot. So, like our generation, we just grow up with all the new technologies, with all the new ways of communication. For us, it is just normal to use them and to apply them, whereas for the kind of older generations, if you want, they just had to learn, use them, and it is always different. You always deal with those things differently if you just first have to learn stuff, right? But of course, at the same time, like it is all the time with immigrants, they know something more that you don't. So in this case, I would say this is they have their long time experience in the business, in life, which we don't have. So at the same time, we need the older generations to learn from them and to see what is possible and what you can do. So what I would just like to talk with you in the discussion is that, as I said, we tend to have a different perception of also environmental standards, of work-life balance, of communication, and so on. And the question is whether you think that our different views of life trigger conflicts at work with our current leaders, and where the common ground is. I mean, there are also positive effects about this. And sometimes I have the feeling that companies, especially the very big ones, formerly state-owned ones with stiff structures, might need a rejuvenating curve. So I would like to see your opinion and hope for a fruitful discussion. Thanks.
Sorry. I will now discuss the next question, which is, what do you hope to get out of a membership to YP organization? And do we think we have a clear winner, which is networking and mentorship, and then a distant second, professional skill building and training opportunities. I first of all thank for your feedback, and while I invite the next speaker, Jeff Schrag, to move to the podium, this will allow me to comment on actually the main result. I met Jeff a while ago for the first time at the EAGE in Rome. So was my first EAGE conference. We somehow stayed in touch. We managed to have a few beers and so on, the various EAGE SCG meetings. I remember he gave me a very wise advice, because then the SCG was going to be in Las Vegas the year after. So he said, just when you're in Vegas, keep your hands in your pockets, do not go to the casino. So yeah, network is extremely important, and I do appreciate, very much if these sessions like this can help and contribute to that. You can, at the end, I think the brainstorming session, will be able to help in this. You get to know other people. We'll make sure that, we'll keep focusing on this, with additional session. The LinkedIn group is a great way to do that. If you see someone posts an interesting article, you think and get in touch with this person, and ask feedback on that and so on. As I mentioned before, we'll have also follow-up questionnaire. If you want to be more specific on how, have suggestions on how to improve networking and mentoring from our point of view, please, let us know. Let's introduce the next question, if possible. Okay, so what are your career aspirations? We have 5 question now, answers. So it's technical specialist, technical generalist, which I must say I'm not sure what it means. Technical leader, general leadership, executive management, or other. So please, I kindly ask you to this.